Hi and welcome back to our lunch session. I hope everyone enjoyed their lunch and no one got blown away outside there. My name's Jane Tandy. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Canaccord Genuity, and I'm very delighted to be here today to host this amazing session that we've got. So straight on to our first speaker that I'm going to introduce today. We've got Peter Bradford, Managing Director and CEO of IGO. Peter joined IGO as MD and CEO in March 2014. He's a metallurgist with over 35 years of experience in gold and base metal mining operations, exploration and development, and he's held senior positions internationally and within Australia. Peter's a graduate of the West Australian School of Mines, a fellow of Australian Institute of Mining and Metallurgy, and president of the Association of Exploration and Mining Companies. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you for the introduction, and hello everyone. Really great to see everyone here, and thank you for coming. 4 minutes ago we were looking at an empty room and wondering what's happening, and then we realised the doors were locked, right? But also good to see a great contingent from IGO here, and as well as a lot of the partners that we have in carrying out our business day to day, whether they be contracting partners like Barminco, whether they be service providers like Zenith that deliver our power solutions and our renewable energy, or whether it be some of our exploration joint venture partners like Encounter, who we're working with in the Paterson, looking for that next transformative copper discovery, or whether it be research and development organisations like the WA School of Mines here and Curtin, who we're working with on innovative solutions, or Australian Vanadium, who we're working with to trial a vanadium reflux flow battery at Nova. So thanks everyone for coming. This is our disclaimer slide. I'll zip through that because you can read it on the ASX. And then what I'll do today in the presentation is just carry on the theme that we started with last year. So talk about our continuing transformation at IGO to become a business 100% focused on clean energy. And then I'll talk to our portfolio of high quality assets with exposure to lithium, nickel, copper and cobalt. And then I'll talk to our team of people and the iconic culture that we're building within the business, and then finish with a bit of a discussion around what we're doing with sustainability and ESG and our response to climate change. So moving into it, so first off, our continuing transformation. And I like to start this theme just by going back to our purpose. We are a purpose-led, values-based business. And our purpose and the accompanying narrative talk to what we do, how we do it, and why. And the why is all around finding and mining and refining those metals that are critical to make clean energy happen so that we can improve the lifestyle of people over the world and create a better planet for future generations. And the key theme here is our response to climate change. And scientists have known since the mid-1800s that CO2 and other gases in the atmosphere creates a greenhouse effect. And as we all know from operating a greenhouse, if you have a greenhouse, it has the impact of increasing temperatures. And the greenhouse effect around the planet increases global temperatures. And on the right-hand side here, we've got a chart. And that just shows the reality of how much CO2 equivalent we're pumping into the atmosphere every year over the last 20 years. And in 2019, there was a total of 40 gigatons of CO2 equivalent that we pumped into the atmosphere. And we all know if we just allow that to keep happening and we adopt a business as usual pre-Paris case, then we'll continue to see that CO2 build up, we'll continue to see rising temperatures, and we'll continue to see climate change. We've curbed that, we've adopted the Paris Accord. Recently we had the Glasgow Summit and adopted the Glasgow Pledges, and with that we're going to curb the problem, but it's not enough. We're still going to have increases in temperature. So if we really want to keep temperature increase to the 1.5 degrees above the pre-industrial average that we talk to, we're going to have to adopt a net zero approach. And that's the green line on the chart here. And to do that, we have to kick that fossil fuel habit. And we have to adopt a whole heap of levers, and part of that solution will be renewable energy, and part of that solution will be electric vehicles, the electrification of transport. It's not the whole solution, but it's a piece of the solution. And every year between now and 2050 towards that net zero scenario, we're going to have to deliver to our roadmap. And every decade we're going to have to do the same. So by 2030, which is only 8 years away, we're going to have to increase the renewable energy addition rate by 4 times. That's huge. We're going to have to increase the EV sales from the 6.6 million units that we had last year to 60 million units. That is a huge task, but it's the roadmap, and if we don't deliver that, then we're not going to meet the 2040 goal or the 2050 goal. And to achieve it, we're going to need lots and lots of metal. At IGO, our strategy, which we articulate as our winning aspiration, it's derived from our purpose, and it's all about creating a company with a global, that's globally relevant in the supply of clean energy metals. And we do that because we want to create a better planet. We do have a diversified suite of products that we make today. And we do that safely, sustainably, ethically and reliably. We are vertically integrated with assets in the upstream, exploration and mining. We're also in the downstream, refining and producing the metals that our customers, the electric vehicle battery producers, want. We're committed to being carbon neutral, and we're committed to developing our people and having what we characterise as an iconic culture. Last year I talked to the first part of our transformation journey, the investment in the lithium joint venture with Tianqi Lithium Corporation. We completed that in June 30 last year. I also talked to the divestment of our Tropicana asset to fully complete our transition into being 100% focused on clean energy metals. We've gone on since then to complete a transaction to supplement the nickel in our portfolio, and you can see those 2 on the page there. Today, we have a fantastic portfolio of projects across Australia through the whole pipeline, with production assets producing lithium, nickel, copper and cobalt, development stage assets in studies, and what I think is a best-in-class exploration portfolio, where we're also doing a little bit of exploration for rare earths. So what I'm going to do is just talk about the business in a little bit of detail, and I'll do that by breaking it into 2 parts. Firstly, talking to our nickel business, and then I'll talk to the lithium business. So just putting everything in perspective, portfolio on a page. This is our nickel business, 2 great producing assets at Nova and Forrestania. Both have been delivering consistent production for many years, and Nova is a high-quality asset delivering the lowest cost nickel units in Australia. Coming in first out of the pipe from a development point of view is Cosmos. Again, high-quality project. It'll have a 10-year life, and we expect to bring it into production mid-next year. And then beyond that, we've got all of the exploration projects and studies projects in the portfolio. In parallel with all that, we're looking at the opportunity to go downstream to convert our nickel sulfide concentrate into nickel sulfate for the battery industry. We did some work on that a few years ago. The Western Areas transaction has enabled more work, and we are doing that in partnership with Wyloo Metals and expect to complete a feasibility study in mid-2024. So a little bit of a deeper dive on Nova. This is a great asset. I've been up here, I've spoken to it before, and I'll probably said the same things. Consistent operational and financial performance. We hit our key guidance metrics for FY22, and in fact on the cost side we beat it, and that's contra trend because we're all battling with those inflationary pressures. With that consistent production and the benefit of strong nickel prices, we've delivered outstanding financial metrics. EBITDA of $630 million and an EBITDA margin of 70%. It's just a wonderful asset. Part of the reason for us being able to keep to our guided costs, and in fact beat our guided costs last year, was that we got some really good byproduct credits from higher prices for copper and cobalt. But the guys on site also did a fantastic job at continuous business improvement, and we were able to strip $5 million of costs out of the business through those programs, and we've done that by implementing technological improvements and by working with our partner organisations to change the way we do things. And we look forward to continuing to do that into FY23, continuing to improve productivity, reduce costs, and improve safety outcomes. We're also looking at ways we can take some of those learnings at Nova and transfer those into the new assets at Cosmos and Forrestania, as well as looking for ways we can get operating synergies across the three mines. Silverknight is located just 35 kilometres northeast of Nova. This is a relatively small satellite open pit resource, and we're in the process of completing a feasibility study for that, which we should complete about this time next year. Around Silverknight, we see significant upside potential, both for exploration of silvernite type ore bodies within the area, but also to extend silvernite as well. And for those that were watching our quarterly reporting, you would have seen us report some multiple intersections at up to 20 metres of visible nickel, copper, cobalt mineralisation. So we continue to pick that apart, not material to the business yet, but certainly incrementally important to silvernite. At Forrestania, we completed the transaction here to own this just 6 weeks ago, and already we're working with the site teams to look at ways to optimise and maximise the business to increase profitability and cash flow over the remaining mine life, but also to look at ways we can leverage some of the learnings at Nova to improve what we do at Forrestania. In parallel, we're doing a systematic review of the tenements there. So, what's the upside around Flying Fox and Spotted Quoll? What is the opportunity in some of the resources that have been previously found outside that on the tenement package, but also the systematic review to understand further exploration potential for nickel, but also lithium and gold. Both are anomalous in that particular terrain. At Cosmos, we're targeting first production in mid-2023. That's later than advertised by Western Areas, but that's because we've adopted a different plan, a different strategy for how we bring the operation in through development. And what we've done is we've reset everything around when the shaft will be complete. And that's going to be complete about the middle of next year, so that buys us more time to invest more money in the processing infrastructure, expand that beyond the 750,000 tonne per annum envisaged by Western Areas to lock in 1.1 million tonne per annum, and it buys us more time to open up multiple areas underground so that when we do start production, we can do it and substantially fill the mill at that time. Again, in parallel, we're doing the work to understand the upside on the concession package, so pre-feasibility studies at Mount Good, which is a huge low-grade nickel sulphide deposit, and also trying to understand the exploration potential on the concession. I mentioned we're doing the nickel downstream processing. Again, we expect to progress this and to progress studies by mid-2024, and here we're really leveraging off the additional nickel units that have come into the business through the Western Areas transaction and the longer dated nature of those nickel units. So watch that space. Turning to the lithium business, we hold the lithium business through a joint venture with Tianqi Lithium Corporation. They own 51%, we own 49%, and that business is really an integrated business with an upstream asset at Greenbushes, the world's best hard rock lithium mine, and we also have an investment in the Kwinana refinery where we'll produce battery-grade lithium hydroxide. Together, we market the product, and together we're doing the early work around exploration to understand how we can find the next Greenbushes. Bit of a deeper dive on Greenbushes itself. We had the benefit of taking a big group of investors and analysts through Greenbushes on the weekend, and I think you'd characterise their overall reaction to the sort of scale and expansion upside at Greenbushes has been gobsmacked, right? It's just a fantastic asset, and like Nova, it delivers consistent production, and over the last 2 years we've seen the production rate double at Greenbushes, and within FY22 we've delivered to our production and our cost metrics. And just like Nova, we deliver strong EBITDA, 1.3 billion on a 100% basis, and strong EBITDA margins. Going into FY23, we're looking to a step change in that because we've got a step change in our spodumene transfer pricing. Looking further ahead, we've doubled over the last 2 years. we're going to nearly double again the production in the coming years by 2027. And that just speaks to the quality of this asset. And once we've done that, we'll still have a better than 20-year mine life. Just absolutely fantastic, and look forward to speaking about Greenbushes for many years to come. Spodumene concentrate that we produce at Greenbushes for the benefit of the joint venture, the first priority is to feed that into the Kwinana refinery, where we will turn it into battery-grade lithium hydroxide. And prior to our investment in the joint venture with Tianqi, they had spent near on $1 billion Australian in building the infrastructure at Kwinana. Over the last year, since we invested, we've been doing the commissioning at Kwinana, we're doing the early production, and recently in May we produced the first battery-grade material. So we're confident now that we have the recipe right, and we can stop the focus on quality and now start to focus on quantity, and over between now and the end of next calendar year, we'll ramp this project up to full production. In parallel, we've been doing the work to re-engineer Train 2, do the costings for Train 2. It is half built already, and by the end of this year, we would expect to make the decision, the commitment to the continued construction of Train 2. That'll take us to about 48,000 tonne per annum of battery-grade lithium hydroxide, and in the future, there's opportunity to build Trains 3 and 4 at Kwinana to match the CGP chemical grade 3, plant 3 and 4 at Greenbushes. IGO, and I've spoken to this many times in the past, we've got an enduring commitment to exploration and discovery. And in the coming year, we're going to lift our commitment to exploration to $75 million. And that recognises the expanded portfolio that we have and the sort of priority we have around Forrestania and Cosmos to understand that brownfields potential. So brownfields priorities for us in FY23 is going to be Nova, Silver Knight and Forrestania. Across the greenfields portfolio, the priority is going to be nickel and copper discovery across Fraser Range, Patterson and the Kimberleys. And a fantastic portfolio there, and we believe the best nickel copper exploration portfolio in Australia, being shepherded by the best exploration team in Australia. Earlier, when talking to the purpose and the winning aspiration, I touched on how sustainability and ESG is really built into the DNA of what we do. Our winning aspiration talks to producing a diverse suite of products safely, sustainably, ethically and reliably. And our winning aspiration talks to that focus on people and building an iconic culture. And therefore already we've got a head start when it comes to ESG and sustainability, and because it's built into the very DNA of what we do. A key part of that when it comes to people and culture is care. Now, simply put, as an organisation, we care about people, whether it's the people in the business or whether it's the people around the business. And by around, it's the community and it's the partnering organisations that we work with. And our belief is that strong culture, a strong, diverse and inclusive culture, along with good practices and training, is essential to combat all forms of bullying and harassment. And together with our people, we're constantly looking at what we do, assessing what works from a cultural point of view within the business, and then with the people in the business, we're working about what we change to further and further strengthen our culture to create that iconic point that we want to get to. For the last 7 or 8 years, we have been focused on improving the practices and performance across all of our sustainability and ESG metrics. And along the journey, we've also been continuously improving the quality and the transparency of our reporting. And as a result of that, we've attracted global recognition for what we do. And they're set out on the page there, but notably the S&P Sustainability Yearbook. For those not familiar with the yearbook, this is the best 15% of performers across each industry segment. And therefore, globally for the mining and metals category, there's 19 companies in the yearbook, and IGO is one of those. So just a great recognition of what we do from a sustainability and ESG perspective. And part of that work stream is our response to climate change. And central to that is our adoption of an internal carbon price a year ago. And that internal carbon price funds our carbon reduction, removal and offset projects. And you would have seen us back in 2019 build our first solar farm at Nova. That reduced our emissions by 10 or 15%. This year we're building a second solar farm and adding batteries to the system. That will further reduce our emissions by 20-25%. And we continue that journey. And one of the opportunities we see at Cosmos with a shaft is that opportunity, that aspiration to create a wholly electrified mine and power that with renewable energy. So in conclusion, and again, thanks everyone for coming along today. In conclusion, I just want to hit back on some of those key themes. You know, we are a purpose-led business focused on clean energy metals, and we do that because we want to deliver a better planet for future generations. We are a people-centric business, and we are building in IGO great people and a great culture. We are committed to sustainability and ESG and continuous improvement, and we have a portfolio of high-quality assets, including exposure to lithium, nickel, copper and cobalt. Last but not least, as I talked before, we have what I consider is the best nickel copper exploration portfolio in Australia and the best geoscientists with access to the best science and R&D to make discovery of the next transformative nickel and copper mine in Australia possible. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Peter. We do have time for questions, so is there any questions from the audience? Not all at once, okay. I do have a question online. You've made a great couple of acquisitions in the past couple of years. Is there any M&A on the cards in the medium term?
We've, it's only 40 days or so since we completed the Western Areas transaction, so right now today we're super busy integrating Western Areas into IGO and trying to understand those assets in the next degree of detail. And therefore, I'd suggest we've got some digestion to do and to demonstrate that we can realise value from that, but also to continue to realise value from the lithium assets that we brought into the portfolio last year. But it doesn't stop us looking, and we've got a dedicated business development team, and they're always looking at projects, and some of that is to keep them match fit, some of that is improving our understanding of how mining projects work and understanding what good looks like out there. And by doing that and being out there, we're also putting ourselves in the pathway of opportunity. Now, just because we're looking doesn't mean we're going to do something, but we are putting ourselves in the pathway of opportunity.
Fantastic. If there's no more questions, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you.